Welcome back to the TWSN YouTube channel. Today we are continuing our team-specific 7-round mock drafts as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. And today we have the Philadelphia Eagles. It's very, very, very rare to see a team who just played in the Super Bowl have a top 10 pick. But here we are. The Eagles have pick 10. They only have 6 picks throughout the whole draft, so it's going to be a little interesting to see how they decide to play things. Maybe they want to move down from 10 up, whatever it is. The Eagles have a lot they can work with. It's a mock draft simulator, so obviously not everything is going to be super accurate, as you can tell. But it's okay. We're going to work with some of the board we have. We're going to keep it a little bit more realistic for you guys, just so you can get a better idea of how the draft might actually fall. And for me, man, it's going to be probably edge, D-line, or corner. That's not very limiting it very much, but I still think those are the positions they're going to be looking to attack at 10. I know Bijan is kind of in the question, but I don't know. I don't really see the Eagles doing that. They've done a great job at just having a great offensive line, allowing any running back to thrive. So I think that could kind of push him away from Bijan and maybe add somebody down the board they like. So because of that, I'm really looking at D-line or edge and corner. I think Joey Porter makes a lot of sense. Deontay Banks is a really good athlete as well. But I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball here. I'm going to go Lucas Van Ness from Iowa. Lucas Van Ness has a very interesting college football story. He never even started a game at Iowa, but he has fantastic power, fantastic speed to power. He's a really raw prospect, but there's so much upside with Lucas Van Ness, and I think that's the kind of pick the Eagles like to take. We know how much they like to draft defensive linemen, interior linemen, just in the trenches in general. I think Lucas Van Ness is a fantastic kind of complement of future, now, what they like to do. All things considered, I really like the fit with Lucas Van Ness to the Eagles. They're at 10. Now, again, D-line, corner, things get interesting. I think that, if Kalijah Kancey's still there, I could see it. I don't know if he's going to be. I know I've mocked him to the Steelers quite a bit, the Lions even a little bit. So let's go ahead and pretend he's not there. Let's go take a look at the cornerback room, and I think somebody that can kind of sneak into the first round that's getting a lot of hype lately, and rightfully so, and it's especially a guy that the Eagles could covet, and that's Julius Brents. Just the length, the size, everything about it checks a lot of boxes for the Eagles. I know that corner isn't the most massive need in the world for them, but he's a very good player. He's ascending upward. He's a premier position. The Eagles like to draft those, so they don't have to spend money on it. They've drafted extremely well in the last few years, and I think Lucas Van Ness and Julius Brents is a little bit of a different 1-2 combo that probably a lot of Eagles fans haven't expected, but it's a very realistic path for their first 2 picks as well, in my opinion. Now we're going to look in the interior defensive line, and Siaki Ika is kind of fun. Javonte Deck, I'm going to go Ika just because they drafted Jordan Davis last year. He's not on the field too much. So if you can have him and Ika on the field, one or the other, one in the run stuffing downs, one in the pass rushing downs, you can do a lot. That's a very, very, very scary duo in the interior. And again, we all know how much the Eagles like to draft interior players in the trenches, and that theme's going to continue here. Now, pick 94. Could be maybe where they look to add a running back. Kendry Miller makes some sense for me. I mean, a lot of these guys kind of can fit with the Eagles. I don't really like necessarily A-Chain there just because he's similar-ish to Gainwell. Spears is a little, interesting as well. I just don't know how much they're really going to value a running back. I know a lot of people kind of are mocking them running backs throughout, but this really wouldn't surprise me if they didn't take one at all, to be honest. And just knowing the way the Eagles like to draft, I am going to look at offensive lineman, and I am going to take Blake Freeland. Blake Freeland is very polarizing. There's a lot of people that are really high on him and a lot of people that are really low on him. But the thing is, with Freeland here specifically to the Eagles, we're hammering the fact we know how the Eagles like to draft. They like to build in trenches. Blake Freeland has super, super high upside. And they also are aware that his floor is pretty low. He tested phenomenally. He can come in. He can learn from the fantastic offensive lineman they have. He can learn from the fantastic offensive lineman coach they have. He's a guy that you can really bring in, groom, and make a better player. And I think when you're the Eagles, that's what you want to do. You can have your offensive lineman of the future learning. The upside is so high. I get that the floor is also pretty low. But again, the Eagles have a phenomenal hit rate when it comes to developing offensive linemen. I think there's a good chance they take a shot. Maybe it's not Blake Freeland. Maybe they like to go a different route. But I think at the end of the day, you'll probably see them draft an offensive lineman just like they do every year. But that pick is also super important because, as you can see, he's 94, and they don't pick again until 219 and then 248. So these first 4 picks, obviously, are super important for the Eagles, kind of get back on the right page and just continue to try to, expand in their Super Bowl window. So now, maybe they look at running backs here. I could see them taking Ibrahim or Rodriguez, even a Prince, just these bigger running backs. I'm going to go Ibrahim here just because there's some slight value there, and he does kind of fit that profile of the bigger bruising back that they don't necessarily have. I know they have Trey Sermon. Who knows how they really truly feel about him? But at the end of the day, Ibrahim is a guy that runs phenomenally through the tackles throughout his college career. Did a lot in the short yardage game. I think that's just an area where, if the Eagles are going to draft a running back, I think they could target that style of back. Now here, it's the last pick. Where do they really want to go? They can, probably end up double dipping, maybe in some of these other spots. Maybe they add a safety. There's a little bit of everything they can do here. It's obviously 248. There's not too many picks left in the draft. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them John Gaines, another good interior offensive lineman prospect. Just like Blake Freeland, I talked about how versatile offensive lineman. The Eagles develop offensive linemen phenomenally, and Gaines is a guy that can play multiple interior positions, and Blake Freeland's a guy that has super high upside. This Eagles draft, can go a lot of ways. Like I said, they have 10-30. It wouldn't surprise me if they traded down from 10, but regardless, at the end of the day, Van Ness and Brents is a different but good 1-2 start. I like the idea of Ika and Jordan Davis on the field together, and even just working off one another. High upside in Freeland and Gaines, and a really good complementary running back, Mohamed Ibrahim from Minnesota. But the NFL draft is almost here, guys. It's really approaching, sneaking up on us very quick. But that's going to wrap up the Philadelphia Eagles team-specific 7-round mock draft. And again, only 2 more teams left. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you follow along here on the TWSN YouTube channel and all TWSN social media accounts. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys here again soon.